political climate in Rivers State has not been, a very beautiful one. There has been a lot of drama, between the PDP family. And when I say PDP family, I'm talking about the Minister of the FCT and the current governor, Sir Siminalayi Fubara. Of course, on the 30th of October, there was some, clandestine attempt to serve an impeachment notice on him, even for no reason. And of course, the people of Rivers State actually came forward to resist that attempt, because we know that one of the things that can happen if we want development is a peaceful atmosphere, because you can't talk development where there are political tensions and turmoils and stuff like that. So that cloud is still there. It hasn't settled completely, even though we are praying, and also working together in unity to see how, that can be put in the past.
Okay, very well. Now, I think it beats some people to think barely 7 or 8 months after the election, and for the former governor, Nyesom Wike, who campaigned vigorously and gave the present governor all of the support that he needs to become governor. Now, what exactly do you think triggered all of this?
For the benefit of those who are not in Rivers State, I think many have come to realize right now that all of those things that former Governor Wike did, like you had rightly stated, all the vigor he added to the campaign for Fubara and all of those things, he was actually doing it for himself. He wasn't doing it for Fubara or for Rivers people because he liked the governorship candidate. Wike was doing that because he never wanted to leave power. Wike wanted to continue and extend the governorship of Rivers State through the back door. And all of those things that we saw, all the Order 21, Order 22, Order 23, which were very anti-democratic, were all vices that he employed, to perpetuate himself.
But are you saying all of this because you are opposed to him?
No, I'm not.
We saw, as you just confirmed, we saw during the campaign, we saw all of the things. We knew the number of people who wanted to be governor. But how suddenly would all of this just be because you don't want to assist a man and you deploy all of those resources to actually support him? I think perhaps there's something know that we don't know.
Well, of course, you are right about that. I'm a Rivers man and I reside in Rivers State. Wike did all the things he did because he wanted to remain in power, even beyond the constitutional required time. And I tell you how he intended to do that. Of all the people that, indicated interest to be governor, the only person who never indicated any interest was Governor Fubara. He saw in him a person that he believed he could manipulate, he can use as a surrogate, to continue the government, to continue his governance of Rivers State. But unbeknownst to him, that nature has his own way, and then the young man, by providence, became the governor, and then saw all the wrong things that were going on and decided to say, no, we can't continue like this. Because in reality, Rivers State has not moved forward in the past 8 years.
But you forget about, in fact, people, if you recall, just allow me make this point so that you can respond to it. Now, we can even got the nickname of the appellate. You want me to use that, Mr. Project and all of that. Are you sitting here to just dismiss all of that? Because if you say in the last 8 years, there hasn't been any serious form of development, I think most people will actually take you to task.
Okay. I'll respond to you by asking a rhetorical question, because I know even if I ask it directly, you're not going to answer me. What is the best form of development? It's human capital development. If you like, you go and build all the 7 wonders of the world, and build castles in the skies, and then the people are not there to benefit from it. And the people are so impoverished, the people are dying and all of that. Have you done any development? That's no development.
But this same
and if you come to Rivers State, you see that the standard of living today is so despicable to a level that should not be compared to the amount of resources that is at the disposal of the people of Rivers State. So, when you look at all of those things and juxtapose it with all the things that they have called development, you see that we have actually moved several steps backward compared to when Wike took over power in 2015. Okay. And the figures and numbers are there. They don't lie. So, what are we talking about?
Now, I recall early into the crisis, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually had a discussion. In fact, it was like a round table and they discussed and we all thought everything was over. So why do we still have all of this tension?
The reason we still have the tension that we have today in Rivers State is because the advice, the admonition of Mr. President does not align with the agenda of the minister. And I'll tell you that for free, that from the way it is, from what we are seeing, it appears the minister of the FCT has his own personal agenda, which is different from that of Mr. President, and all the evidences are clear. The president is the number one citizen, agenda and then what? People should accord reverence to his office, and when he says a word, at least those people who are in his employment should try the much that they can to listen to him, to obey him, because he means well for the nation. But when you have someone who have his own pyrrhic agenda, he has his own personal agenda that he must do whatever it takes to achieve, then you now start seeing such disobedience as we are seeing from the minister today. Because imagine that the president told the both party, please hold your peace, maintain status quo. I don't want any of these problems in Rivers State. And that's because he understands the importance of Rivers State to the nation called Nigeria. Most of the national assets that you have in this country are located in Rivers State. And then what happens to a Nigeria that is broke right now, a Nigeria that is struggling economically, if we have a full-blown political crisis that can cascade into even communal crisis and other forms of crisis in Rivers State, and then the federation is no longer able to benefit from the things that are there. Have you seen that? If that happens, of course, the president's agenda will not be able to be achieved, but the person who is orchestrating this, because it has its own personal agenda, may have achieved his own aims and objectives. So I beg you, I want to use this platform to call on the president to try the much he can to call the minister to order. The minister has done his 8 years as governor of Rivers State as constitutionally required. He should at least allow the governor of Rivers State now to try, because the dangers of this is that if the president thinks that what is happening here, what is happening in Rivers State is just a Rivers problem, he should cast his mind back to how the presidency of Goodluck Jonathan fell. It all started in Rivers State. And Jonathan felt it was a Rivers thing. At the time, too, the minister now in this Tinubu's government, the FCT minister, was at the center of that crisis. He was doing everything, saying he was fighting a match, and then the president allowed him, believing that it was to his own benefit, not knowing that Wike had his own agenda. And at the end of the day, everybody saw how that crisis that the President Jonathan allowed to linger crumbled his entire government. And the same thing too is happening now. So the president should do the much he can to intervene and ask the minister, you have another assignment which is for the FCT. Concentrate here and allow Rivers State to move forward.
Okay, now very well said. Now I want to say this. The real reasons, as to why all of this crisis even started in the first place, which is the impeachment attempt, as you say, and that we hear it out there. The impeachment has been dropped. So for me, I really don't see how to connect that the Minister of FCT did not actually listen to the president, because I'm not sure the impeachment process is still ongoing.
Well, I'll tell, and I think it is for these insinuations that is making discussions like this very necessary, because it gives ample opportunity for the public to actually hear, the true state of things. Well, the people in Abuja might be thinking that the process has stopped, because at least that's what the people who are in charge are presenting to the public to believe. But I tell you that that's a smokescreen. Even after the interpolation of the president, it took about a week and 4 days before that notice was eventually served. If there were respect for authorities from the minister, the president has said, stop. Won't he have asked his people to stop? But they still went ahead a week after the president had said stop. They went ahead to serve.
Now, what is the state that is destiny and impeachment?
Of course, as I speak to you, 2 weeks back, we saw the faction of the assembly members loyal to the minister came all the way from Rivers to Port Harcourt here under the pretext of having a workshop and all of those things with the National Assembly, with the House of Rep leadership and all of those things. As we speak to you today, the people who are loyal to the minister, they don't regard the governor as anything. They don't have any respect for the governor. The governor, you can't even find them in company of the governor. But the minister, who is no longer the governor, holds meeting every blessed day with commissioners in Fubara's government, council chairman of the 20 local government, SS, PS. Oh, that is, as I speak to you today, there's a parallel government in Rivers State. The Minister of FCT has formed a parallel government in Rivers State. Of course, he built a very palatial palace for himself that is even more glamorous than the government house. And as I speak to you, activities of government is going on there every day.
Okay, now before we go, actually, we'll talk about what you think is what do you think is the best way to resolve all of this, whether it's if not necessarily going through the firefights and all of that. But let's know, how does all of this affect governance in Rivers State?
Well, like I said earlier, the crisis in Rivers State does not just affect governance in Rivers State. It affects everything in Nigeria, and I'll tell you why. Today, the federal government of Nigeria is embarking on a project called the Maradi gas pipeline that leads to Morocco, and from the assessment of experts and people who know, they will tell you that that project is one project that, when completed, will make the global community to start seeing Nigeria as a serious people who want to grow economically. As we speak today as well, there's what they call LNG Train 7 going on in Rivers State. LNG remains one of the most viable national assets that Nigeria has. And that Train 7, as I speak to you, is having a very serious challenge that most people are not aware of. And that is where to locate the gas from that they use to power that project. These things are all in Rivers State. Now, in Rivers State, one of the places that you have the highest gas deposit is in the Southeast Senatorial District, where the Governor Fubara is coming from.
That's Oogni.
Oogni, Andoni, Opobo, Oyigbo, and all along that axis. Now, the people of the Senatorial District 2 has never produced a governor for since the creation of Rivers State for over 56 to 57 years.
But Wike, you are talking about,
do you understand?
Gave you a governor.
Now, he never gave us a governor. He only brought in his mind, he was going to bring a surrogate that will hold on that office for him while he continues, you understand, to be the governor of the state. So now, if this political turmoil now cascades into a full-blown crisis, and of course we know that when there are crises, you cannot talk about production of oil and all of those things that comes from that area. What now happens to these very laudable projects of government that is geared towards alleviating the suffering of Nigerians and boosting our economy. What happens to it? These are the things that people who have clear vision and patriotic desire for the growth of state and nation will consider before going into certain unnecessary battles. Now, today, if you ask, why is this current battle going on? Because as far as we know, the Governor Fubara that Wike is calling all sorts of unprintable names today has been as loyal as you can think, even to the dismay of Rivers, because at some point people were saying, look, you are the governor, why do you, leave all these things to the minister and all of this? And the guy said, look, he's my principal and I have to do what he says. And he has been doing that up until the time when they came to humiliate him out of office.
But the way you are speaking, as if Governor Fubara, I don't know, I'm not saying that is what it is, as if he doesn't even have anything to do with all of this, like he's just a completely innocent man.
Let me even tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Right? And there must be two sides of all of this. Are you saying this because you are speaking because you somehow support him or
no,
that?
I'm speaking the way I'm speaking because I'm a concerned Rivers indigene. I'm speaking the way I'm speaking because I'm from the civil society and I stand for the truth. And I'll tell you something. A lot of persons have asked, you want to impeach this person. You're frustrating this man. You're trying all you can to truncate this government. At least tell us one thing. Give us one reason why you are doing this. They've not been able to come out to say one thing. Even some of the loyalists of the minister, the assembly members, commissioners, and all those things, when they are accosted to privately and ask, why are you people doing what you're doing? Some of them had openly said that, look, it is not their desire to do what they are doing, but of course their hands are tied, that your guy is forcing them to do what they are doing. And then you come to think of it. We practice a constitutional democracy in Nigeria, a participatory governance. Whether you brought Fubara or whether you created him, whatever you did for him, it was the people who voted him. That's the way the law sees it. So as far as Fubara is the governor today, all the reverence and support that is due that office is supposed to be given to him, because as it stands today, that office is bigger than whoever occupies it. And that's what Rivers people has been crying for. In fact, that is the sole reason why Fubara is still there. Because the enormous support that Rivers people has given to him is the reason why it's difficult for the people who wants to, boot him out to do what they want to do. Because even the people who never supported him during the elections, even the people who are not politicians, they all came out there and said, look, we cannot continue in this light. If we allow this thing to succeed today, it can become a norm. It can become a trajectory that people, and reference point that people will look back at and try to replicate. And when you allow things like that to happen, we are killing our democracy, for God's sake.
Now, absolutely, you've said quite a lot. Now, going forward, and as we plan to exit, what do you think is the solution to all of this? That we can just have peace and allow all of this to just die down?
The solution to this lies on the table of the president. The people of Rivers State has done their bits, because it's supposed to, the solution was supposed to come from the people, both the people and the presidency. The people of Rivers State had done what they need to do. They've rallied around the governor. They've held their fort. They've said no to the antics and the high-handedness and all the troubles that is coming from the FCT minister. So at this point, the onus is on the president to call the minister to order.